In the heart of the dense woods, where sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy, I found myself entangled in a nightmare that defied the logic of the natural world. What began as a simple camping trip with friends turned into a descent into the abyss of the unknown. The woods, with their towering trees and overgrown underbrush, seemed to close in around us as we ventured further from the familiar trails. The air grew heavy with the scent of damp earth and the distant murmur of unseen creatures. We were seasoned outdoors enthusiasts, unafraid of the wilderness that surrounded us. Little did we know that the woods held secrets far more ominous than we could have ever imagined. As night fell, we set up camp in a clearing surrounded by ancient trees. The crackling fire offered a feeble defense against the encroaching darkness. The forest, once filled with the soothing sounds of rustling leaves, transformed into a symphony of eerie whispers. It was as if the woods themselves were alive, murmuring secrets that transcended human understanding. With an air of nonchalance, we shared stories around the flickering fire, trying to dismiss the subtle unease that settled upon us. As the flames danced, shadows morphed into grotesque figures, and the once friendly woods became an alien landscape. Unbeknownst to us, a malevolent force had awakened in the heart of the ancient forest. It started with a distant sound, a haunting melody that echoed through the trees. Faint at first, it grew steadily louder, each note carrying a weight of sorrow and despair. The eerie symphony seemed to emanate from the depths of the woods, as if the very soul of the forest mourned an ancient tragedy. Ignoring the whispers of caution that fluttered through the camp, we ventured into the darkened woods, drawn by the spectral melody that wrapped around our senses like a siren's call. The towering trees loomed over us, their branches creating an intricate web that blocked out the moonlight. The air became dense with an otherworldly energy, and an unsettling stillness settled over the forest. As we walked deeper into the heart of the woods, our flashlights flickered, casting long shadows that seemed to dance with unseen entities. The spectral melody intensified, resonating through the very core of our beings. A sense of foreboding gripped us, but an irresistible compulsion pushed us forward into the abyss. It was then that we stumbled upon an ancient altar, hidden amidst the gnarled roots of a colossal tree. Symbols etched into the moss-covered stone spoke of a forgotten ritual, and the air pulsed with an otherworldly power. The haunting melody reached its crescendo, and shadows coalesced into spectral figures that circled the altar. Reality blurred as the forest itself seemed to come alive. The ancient trees groaned, their trunks contorting as if in agony. The air shimmered with an unnatural luminescence, casting an eerie glow over the ritual site. Panic set in as we realized that we had become intruders in a supernatural ceremony, our presence disrupting forces we could not comprehend. Desperation fueled our flight from the accursed altar, but the woods had become a labyrinth that defied navigation. The spectral figures pursued us with ghostly determination, their mournful wails merging with the dissonant symphony that echoed through the ancient forest. The once familiar trees now twisted into grotesque forms, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Exhausted and disoriented, we stumbled upon a clearing bathed in an otherworldly light. In the center stood a colossal tree, its roots entwined with the very fabric of the forest. The haunting melody reached its climax, and the spectral figures merged into a swirling vortex of energy. In an instant, the woods fell silent. The malevolent force that had gripped the ancient forest dissipated, leaving us in a hushed clearing under the moonlit sky. The twisted trees returned to their natural state, and the oppressive energy lifted. We were left to contemplate the horrors we had witnessed, and the thin veil that separates the known from the unknowable. The deep woods, once a realm of serene beauty, had revealed a darker side, a realm where ancient forces slumbered, and trespassers faced the consequences of disturbing the delicate balance. As we retreated from the haunted depths, the haunting melody lingered in our ears, a spectral reminder of the horrors that lurked beneath the ancient canopy. To this day, the memory of that deep woods horror story gone wrong haunts my dreams, a chilling testament to the enigmatic and malevolent forces that may lie dormant in the heart of nature itself. The invitation to a weekend camping trip in the heart of the deep woods seemed like an enticing escape from the mundane rhythm of urban life. Friends gathered, tents were pitched, and laughter echoed through the thick canopy as we embarked on our journey into nature's embrace. Little did we know that the woods held secrets darker than the shadows they cast. The sun dipped below the horizon, leaving us in a realm of encroaching darkness. The flickering flames of our campfire offered a feeble defense against the night that surrounded us like a shroud. The air, heavy with the scent of pine, grew thick with an unspoken tension. As seasoned outdoors enthusiasts, we dismissed the growing unease as a trick of the imagination, a consequence of the unfamiliarity of the deep woods. The first whispers of disquiet manifested as subtle rustlings in the underbrush and distant, unfamiliar calls of nocturnal creatures. Our collective bravado began to wane, replaced by an unspoken agreement to huddle closer to the fire. In the depths of the woods, where even the moon's glow struggled to penetrate, nature's symphony took on an eerie, discordant tone. As the fire dwindled to glowing embers, the shadows cast by the trees morphed into sinister shapes that seemed to dance at the periphery of our vision. My attempts to dismiss these spectral illusions as mere products of a fatigue mind proved futile when an unnatural hush settled over the woods. Nocturnal sounds ceased, leaving an unsettling silence in their wake. Curiosity, tinged with a hint of trepidation, impelled us to explore the unknown. Armed with flashlights, we ventured into the velvety darkness, seeking the source of the disquiet that clung to the night air. The trees, once familiar sentinels of nature, now appeared as looming specters, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The deeper we ventured, the more the woods seemed to resist our intrusion. Trail markers disappeared, and the underbrush closed ranks behind us, leaving no trace of the path we had tread. Panic threatened to take hold, but we pressed on, enticed by a distant, haunting melody that seemed to beckon from the depths of the forest. The melody led us to an ancient grove, where moonlight filtered through the tangled canopy above, creating an ethereal glow. In the center stood a gnarled tree, its branches twisted into grotesque contortions. At its base lay a dilapidated altar, adorned with symbols whose meanings eluded our understanding. The haunting melody emanated from the surroundings, intertwining with the rustling leaves and creating an otherworldly symphony. As we approached the altar, the air grew charged with an unseen energy. Unnerving whispers, unintelligible yet filled with urgency, enveloped us. I felt a compulsion to decipher the symbols etched into the moss-covered stones. With trembling hands, I traced the ancient glyphs, unwittingly becoming a participant in a ritual lost to the annals of time. The woods responded to our unwitting intrusion with a malevolent energy. Shadows detached from the trees, coalescing into ethereal figures that encircled the grove. The haunting melody intensified, reaching a dissonant crescendo that reverberated through the ancient trees. Panic set in as we realized the repercussions of disturbing forces beyond our comprehension. The spectral figures converged on the altar, their mournful wails merging with the haunting melody. The air pulsed with an unnatural luminescence, casting an eerie glow over the grove. As the ritual reached its zenith, a vortex of energy materialized, distorting reality itself. Desperation seized us as we realized the depth of our folly, but escape was futile. In an instant, the grove fell silent. The malevolent force that had gripped the ancient woods dissipated, leaving us in a surreal clearing. The gnarled tree and dilapidated altar stood as silent witnesses to the supernatural spectacle we had unwittingly unraveled. The woods, now devoid of the haunting melody, returned to an uneasy calm. The journey back to our campsite was a solemn one, haunted by the knowledge that we had trespassed into a realm beyond our understanding. The woods, once a sanctuary of natural beauty, had become a stage for an ancient ritual. The haunting melody lingered in our ears, a spectral reminder of our intrusion into a world where the boundaries between the living and the unknown blurred. As we emerged from the deep woods, the first light of dawn painted the horizon. The experience, though harrowing, left an indelible mark on our souls. The deep woods, with their ancient secrets and spectral melodies, became a cautionary tale, a reminder that even in the heart of nature, there are mysteries that should remain undisturbed. The crisp autumn air cut through the dense foliage as my friends and I delved into the heart of the deep woods. A weekend escape to nature, we thought, would be a perfect antidote to our hectic lives. Little did we know that the shadows cast by ancient trees would harbor something far more sinister than the whispered tales of the wilderness. Our chosen campsite nestled in a secluded clearing, the perfect blend of rustic charm and solitude. As evening painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, we gathered around a crackling fire, its warmth a comforting barrier against the encroaching darkness. The sounds of laughter and clinking utensils filled the air as we prepared a modest feast, oblivious to the undercurrents that began to weave their way through the woods. As the first embers of twilight faded, a subtle unease settled upon our camp. The distant hoot of an owl morphed into an eerie lament, and the wind carried whispers through the trees that seemed to beckon us into the heart of the ancient forest. I dismissed the growing tension, attributing it to the natural apprehension one might feel in unfamiliar surroundings. As the night deepened, so did the shadows beneath the towering trees. Our laughter echoed less freely, replaced by cautious glances towards the ever-thickening darkness beyond our campfire's glow. The once familiar rustling of leaves transformed into a symphony of unsettling murmurs, as if the woods were conspiring in a language we were not meant to comprehend. A timid suggestion to explore the surroundings was met with hesitant nods, our flashlights cutting through the blackness like frail beacons of courage. The path we followed seemed to dissolve behind us, the dense foliage swallowing our trail with an unsettling swiftness. Despite the foreboding signs, we pressed on, drawn by a haunting melody that seemed to emanate from the depths of the ancient grove. The melody guided us to a clearing bathed in silvery moonlight, revealing a gnarled tree at its center. An ancient altar, adorned with faded symbols, lay at its roots, invoking an aura of profound antiquity. The haunting melody, now clearer than ever, swirled around the grove, blending with the rustling leaves and creating an ethereal symphony that transcended the natural order. In our fascination, we approached the altar, its moss-covered stones etched with symbols of unknown origin. The air thickened with an indescribable energy, and an unseen force seemed to guide our hands as we traced the ancient glyphs. Unbeknownst to us, we had become unwitting participants in a ritual lost to the annals of time. As the last symbol was traced, the atmosphere shifted. Shadows detached from the trees, converging upon the grove. The haunting melody reached a dissonant crescendo, and the air pulsed with an unnatural luminescence. Panic seized us as we realized the woods were alive with forces far beyond our understanding. Spectral figures materialized around the altar, their mournful wails merging with the haunting melody. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp, and the grove transformed into a surreal battleground between the living and the unknown. Desperation set in as we grappled with the consequences of our intrusion into a realm that defied explanation. In the heart of the chaos, a vortex of energy manifested above the altar. Reality itself seemed to twist and contort as the ancient forces we had disturbed sought resolution. The grove became a maelstrom of supernatural energies, and our pleas for escape were drowned in the cacophony of the dissonant symphony. As swiftly as it had begun, the chaos ceased. The grove fell into a silence that hung heavy with an unsettling calm. The gnarled tree and dilapidated altar stood as silent witnesses to the supernatural spectacle that had unfolded. Moonlight filtered through the branches, casting an eerie glow over the clearing. The journey back to our campsite was a somber retreat, the haunting melody still lingering in the air. The woods, once a sanctuary of natural beauty, had become a stage for an ancient ritual, and we were but unwitting actors in a play that defied reason. The deep woods, with their secrets and spectral melodies, left an indelible mark on our souls, a testament to the fine line between the known and the enigmatic in the heart of nature.